So my problem with the world.
The world, wow, the whole world.
The whole world.
Because I just can't stand you guys.
You can't
I applaud you, sir, for being such a diligent person.
I don't need you. Some rando who I didn't even know telling me about what I already.
You are listening to the #1 podcast in the world, at least according to two people. Welcome to Absolutely Relative with Sam and Joel.
So,
what I was asking you earlier. So let me just phrase that question and then you can proceid to answer.
Well, I guess you can start off with just kind of saying what the problem is, right?
Okay, so my problem with the world.
The world, wow, the whole world.
The whole world. This is where I hate myself and probably everyone else that I've come to contact with. I am a kind of person that does not fully comprehend or understand
Social
cues and...
like situations where it's asked for you to read the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reading the room is not a skill that I'm gifted with.
Okay.
Most of the situations that require me to do that, I have to go about it in a very mechanical, scientific kind of approach. Mm-hmm. Kind of like yes, no, no, yes, binary type of thing. And that's, of course, something that I've struggled all throughout my life, not just now. Mm-hmm. But recently I've been noticing that I am the kind of person that seems to have a very interesting, for the lack of a better word, impact on the people around me. Maybe the word I'm looking for is abrasive.
Okay.
So there are people out there that are either love me so much that they like want to spend every waking moment with me.
Wow,
right? I know.
I'm struggling to think of...
I know, it's hard. But there's people out there that I vibe with.
Wow.
So well that like every time they go to places where I'm commonly found,
the moment they wake up, it's like,
yes,
where can I see Joel
Where
today?
can I find Joel?
I need my daily fix of Joel.
I need my daily fix. No, I mean, not to that extent, but whenever they go to a place that I'm most commonly found,
okay,
they'll be like, oh, where is he? He's not here today? Dang it. You know, that kind of thing. There is that thing, or either they text me to let me know
that they're there.
Hey, I'm here. Are you
gonna come by?
Are you gonna come by, or are you like not gonna come by? Should I be like, how long should I wait?
Yeah, so it's either you're already there and I take my time in chatting with you, or you're not there and I'm like, so the annoying person's not here yet.
The annoying person's not here yet. There's an extreme of people that do enjoy spending their time with me. And then on the other end, there's also people that find it difficult to be around me and can't stand me at all. Right?
No way.
I know. And I know you fall into the latter. I know
that's why we're doing a podcast together.
That's why we're doing a podcast together.
Because I just can't stand you guys.
You can't stand the thought of me, my presence.
Your mere existence.
Yes. And the reason I talk to you about these things is because I know how different you are to me as a person. You, in my opinion, you are a lot more emotionally intelligent and adaptive than I am.
You say that, but you've got way more friends than I do. I
know, and it still boggles. This is a question that I've never managed to answer till today. Why do I have so many friends? I have no idea. But that's where these kind of questions come up with you and me. We talk about like relationships and personalities a lot.
Mm-hmm. I guess for me, it's like I feel like I'm super picky with people that I am friends with, and that's probably not a good thing, because I feel like in some ways that is being pretty judgmental, but I wouldn't say it in a malicious way. Like, I'm not saying, oh, like this person's a shit person. It's more just saying like, I don't think I'd like to get along with this person or like share a lot of my time with this person.
Okay.
You get what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that they're bad people, but but in my head, it's like, I'm saying like, I don't feel like this is the kind of person that I want to spend time with. In
your personality that is very choosy and picky about who you spend time with, you decided that you would also want to spend time with me.
Because
why?
You're annoying.
Yes.
But you're not a bad person. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not trying to say everyone else is bad, but I think like there is kind of a genuineness deep, like inside, where, for example, when we're talking about problems like this, right? You genuinely want to be like a better person for the people around you.
Hell yeah.
And to me, that I always find super respectable and super admirable, because I think there's not a lot of people who would do that for the people that they care about. And again, I guess I'm not saying people who don't do that are bad people. Like, look, I'm just trying to I'm not trying to make anyone look bad because they have or they don't have anything.
Okay.
Point being is that I just really respect that about you. And despite whatever other flaws that you may have as a person, or I may have as a person, that in alone kind of more than makes up for it. Because it's like, no matter what crap that we probably have to deal with as friends, because I know you care about how I feel about the relationship and how you feel about the relationship, we're always going to have that capacity to talk about it and to kind of be better friends for each other.
Yeah, definitely.
So that for me kind of makes everything else pretty much okay.
Okay. So like there are certain things in a person that you value more than the others.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And you are willing to put up, because of course you being a rational person, you understand that there is no perfect scenario.
Yeah, obviously.
Not every person is going to check every box of yours. So you are willing to let go of the things that are not as much of a priority.
Yeah.
They are still nice to have.
Yeah, for sure.
But given that this one relationship can't satisfy every single one of those things, you're like, hey.
I would say there's two parts to this.
Okay.
I would say one, like, yes, in a quote unquote perfect scenario, this person would check all the box and be the perfect friend you have. But to me, that also kind of feels kind of like boring.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the right word to it. Like almost like this person isn't real. Like it's an android made by you know, it's like you're just ticking all the boxes. There's no such thing. Like you are not a real person.
Why are you so much like me? It's like
why are you so like the fact that you don't have any flaws is kind of troubling to me.
That I never trust a guy without a dark side.
Yeah,
in that sense,
in that,
you can't be too perfect in that sense.
When you're too perfect, it's almost like something's wrong. The fact that you are too perfect is something wrong.
You being too perfect is the problem.
Yeah, is the problem. Like you need to be wrong in some way.
You need to be less perfect
to be perfect.
To be perfect.
Yeah.
What did we just say?
Anyway, and then the other half of it, I do find that even though some parts of, for example, like I'm just using you as an example here.
Of course,
There's some parts that are annoying, but if you don't have those traits, you're not you. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be you anymore. It wouldn't be an authentic Joel experience.
Yeah. You want the full authentic Joel experience.
You see, the thing is, right? Like in small doses, like it's fun.
Yeah.
For you to just be annoying, but depending on the context, whether it's a situational thing or whether it's just a prolonged thing or whatever, then it becomes problematic for me, at least between us.
All right. Thank you for saying that, and this is where I want to circle back to the conversation that we were having before we press record.
Sure.
You were about to make a point, and I'll let you make that point, but let me frame it first. So as I said earlier, social cues, reading the room is very difficult for me. It still is. And I wish these are, of course, I understand that these are not always realistic expectations, but what would be great for someone like me is if people said exactly what was going on in their head or would react to whatever it is that I was doing and tell me exactly where I'm going wrong so that I can fix myself or fix my behavior. Because at the end of the day, I am not trying to be ignorant. Like especially like with you, of course, we intentionally make jokes where I'm purposefully being annoying, right? But with the general populace who I barely know, who are not my friends, they're just acquaintances in that sense.
Or like people around you.
People I know or colleagues or whatever. I'm not intentionally trying to annoy anyone.
Right.
So if I happen to annoy them, it would always be that I happen to annoy them. It's not an intentional thing. And I wish more people out there in the world would be like, hey man, I just hope you don't do what you did again, because this is what that results in. This is how that makes me feel. This is how you sound. I think if people were willing to have that conversation, that would definitely make my life a lot more easier. Because like you said, I am not a person that knows that there's something wrong that I'm doing and that's causing hurt or disturbances to other people and intentionally does that again and again.
Yeah.
Just out of spite or for whatever reason. I don't intentionally try to make people's day or life worse. And if I am making someone's life worse, I want to know what is it that I'm doing, and I want to fix myself. But we were talking about how not everyone out there is going to be
communicative
about that.
For sure. I think, well, you're going to have a few people in a few different camps anyway. I think there are going to be people who will be communicative, and there are people who will fall into different camps in that area. And then for the camps of who isn't communicative, I think there are different kind of people in there as well. I think though there are the people who have the mentality of, oh, if this is just a short-term thing, if I don't have to put up with this for a while, or it's something I'm okay to manage, then it's not something I see myself concerned to fix, quote unquote. Yeah. But then obviously when you reach people like colleagues or people you're working or being around with fairly often, obviously it can become a problem. Or either they had a bad day and just so happened that you were being annoying, it blows up and they blow up, stuff like that. I think for those kind of people, it's a bit of I don't want to be confrontational, because being confrontational is more annoying than whatever this annoying person is doing. If you get my...
So you mean like someone considers themselves to be annoying if they have to be confrontational?
Yeah. Because it's like, man, like I'm gonna sound like such a demanding person. Like I need this person to be this or this or that. Okay. And then on the flip side of that, for someone who is super quick at telling people off, it's like they could just be demanding or bossy people.
That could be.
It could be that. I mean, like, yeah, you can see it both ways. You know, you've got the full spectrum of people who are genuinely kind of like demanding, bossy, whatever word you wanna label that, or people who don't realize that they're super demanding, but like and are not trying to be super demanding, but are very vocal about what they like or dislike. You've got people like that as well. And then you've got people who are trying to not be demanding because they think that that's a quote unquote bad thing. But like one level above that would be like expecting you to read the room enough or know the culture enough to be like, you should know this is annoying. And if you don't, that's your problem. And I'm gonna be mad if you keep being annoying because you should know better. Yeah. Those are the people that I find the most difficult to deal with.
That's the problem. I think that's where I think most of the time I never have issues with the people who do not want to say anything, and most of the time the people who do not want to say anything, I usually don't expect them to say anything in the first place, because they're usually like acquaintances, people I pass by. They don't have anything to do with my daily life in that sense. But the people who end up being like, oh, there's this unwritten book of rules that you have to abide by, that no one's ever going to tell you about. But
some magical, invisible...
Yeah. I think that requires the skill. I mean, look, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. Even amongst reasonable communities, and I understand that this is a common thing, especially with people that have like grouped together after a while. But for someone who is outside of the circle, who is interested in being part of the circle, it is not necessarily an obvious thing. Like, especially someone like me clearly doesn't know how to read the room, and I don't have that skill innately, so it's very like I have to pick apart what is this person doing, and then if this person does something different the next day, I understand that the actions are different, but I do not understand how they got there or why they did that. So it's like saying, like, for example, there was this one sort of community that I was a part of. I used to be the kind of guy that would text the head of this community, text them and say, hi, are we meeting up this week? And that person says to me that we are always going to meet up every Wednesday or every Friday. If we don't say anything ever at all, just know that every Wednesday and every Friday, this place, something's happening for sure. Just show up. That 1 week, great. Second week, great. The week after that, nobody was there. Apparently, it was canceled, and nobody told me. Like, the way I've conducted myself is, if you've given me a rule saying that this is how we do things, I have now established that in my head, saying that, okay, so that means I'm not going to ask you anymore, because you've already said that every Friday and every Wednesday without fail, whether or not there's an announcement, we are meeting up. And I expect you to hold on to that. And if there is a cancellation, I expect you to inform me, because now it's no longer...
Now the onus is not on you, it's the other way around.
Correct. So look, am I going to be the kind of guy that consistently texts you every single week to make sure that the event's happening? Or am I going to be the kind of guy that respects what you said earlier on and establishes that to everything else? Because you say that this is the rule.
So
and
how
then
did that turn out? Like
and then you break the rule. So now I become what I do right now is I just look out for some form of reassurance from other people in the community to know whether it's happening or not.
Okay.
Because there's two things here. One, I do not want to be the annoying guy that consistently texts them every single week. But two, I also don't trust
You've been burnt enough for you to like...
Correct.
Yeah.
I've been burnt enough in the past to be like, oh, well, I showed up a couple of times and nobody was there, but you guys said you would be there no matter what.
Yeah.
So like this is it's an unwritten rule that a lot of people within the community seem to know already innately, but I do not know, and nobody's telling me what I don't know.
Right.
And I don't think that at all times, I don't think that even if they told me, it would be completely comprehensible. It's kind of a thing that you catch the more you spend time with a group of people, the more you adapt to that type of situation. It is those kind of things. Well, in this particular situation, at least, no one's been annoyed at me because they've been aware that they've also been inconsistent in the way they've communicated things to me. And they know that I'm not as acquainted with their ways, right? And that's been great. That's been good. There's no bad blood. There's nothing of that sort.
Sure.
But there have been other situations where people were like, why is he like this? Why does he keep bothering me? But in reality, what they don't understand is they've caused me to be this way.
And you just don't know what the correct kind of like modus operandi is.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Latest beef in the life of Joel. Some hot tea being spilled.
Wow.
Without any names.
Sure.
I'll tell you. So this person, we were all in a group chat.
For those that don't know, Joel is a actor / stand-up comedian /
influencer
creator /
creator,
whatever. Joel is whatever you want him to be.
I am everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's an interactive performance that I was doing with my company.
Cool.
For a client, right?
All right.
I'm not going to go into who the client is.
Sure.
I'm going to go into what interactive performance is, whatever.
Sure.
So the client told me that, so the way apparently they structure their timing is very aligned with other events in their country, situation, that kind of thing. Okay. So they say after the mid-morning announcement, we will have a meeting with you.
Okay.
And my question immediately in the client group chat is, when is the mid-morning announcement?
Yep.
And when do you mean after? Because after the
could mean an hour
it could mean an hour. Could mean it could be 10 years from now. That's still after.
That's still after, technically.
Yeah. It's like, oh, just call us after 9 a.m. That could be anything, dude. That like from today until the rest of the future.
9:01, I'm calling you.
Hell yeah. So that's what they say. So my immediate question was, when is the morning announcement? So apparently they have a daily announcement in their country. And somebody in that group chat representing the client side said that for a smart guy like yourself, you don't seem to know how to Google. And I'm like, what's
your problem, man?
What the hell is your issue?
Yeah.
I am not accustomed to the way things are. And
so suddenly asking a question is an issue?
Yeah. Like, okay, so is it a problem that I didn't first Google it and asked you in the group chat?
Did you want me to Google every single little thing?
Yeah. You know what? This guy that was commenting on my lack of intelligence, not even part of the meeting, not even part of the agenda, just so happened to want to interject. So he got super annoyed and he got like super frustrated. I was like, what the heck is going on with this person?
Did you... it would be hilarious if you'd actually reply with, oh, so I'm supposed to Google every little thing when you brought up something that I am not immediately aware of? Is that how everything works now? Do you do that, sir? Wow, you must be an immensely intelligent person to Google about every little detail that so happens to come into your life. I applaud you, sir, for being such a diligent person to Google about every little thing that everyone says.
Hell yeah. I mean,
I would, dude, that would be the best reply. And
yeah, but you see, they're my client. I gotta be more, I just gotta take it, you know what I mean? I know that this person just insulted me, but Like, am I willing to risk losing a client, breaking that relationship that I have with them, making myself seem like
look, if you were doing it in a comedic sense with like if you could just finesse that fine line of
yeah, it's something that I haven't attempted simply because I don't want any bad blood with anyone.
Sure.
Because and again, this is coming from a guy that doesn't know how to read a room. So I always, when it comes to situations like this, my first reaction is always, did I do something wrong? And of course, now I realize that I didn't do anything wrong. It was just asking a question. And I went, okay, here's what I did. After that, I went and Googled. And in Google, it says that the morning announcement starts at 9:30 a.m. in the morning. Now, let me clarify for you what the client has mentioned to me. They said after the morning announcement. So the start time of the morning announcements is 9:30. The end time? Duration was not included in the Google result. So look at me right now. I have to continually clarify the time with my client saying, so how long do these things go? And when you mean after, how long after the end of the morning announcement do you want me to contact you? Like, not only am I only given the start duration.
Well, I guess to simplify it, if you were to use like a more direct question, that would be easier. Maybe like Google, for example, Google whatever the time it starts and then just ask is, so for example, we know that it's 9:30.
Yeah.
And probably the easiest question to go from there is like, should I contact you by 10:30? Is that okay? Then that would have worked out immediately.
Yep. But my brain went the more detailed way. So my brain, what it did is like, so how long? So I Googled and I'm like, Google says 9:30. How long do these things last?
Sure.
And then they said from 2 to 4 hours. I'm like, wow, okay.
Okay, from 2 to 4. They give you a window. So
I
would say split the difference, say 3 hours and say, is 12:30 okay?
I didn't even do that. What I did is, okay, 2 to 4 hours.
Cool.
All right.
I'll contact you.
9, 10, 11, 12, 1:30, my guy. 1:30. You know what? Let's not even cut that close to the cheese. Let's go 2 p.m. We are going to call you. Is that okay? And then this guy texts back saying, on the group chat again, saying, do you not understand what we're trying to say? We said after the announcements.
2 p.m. is after
How difficult is it for you to understand that we said after the announcements? Well, yeah, 2 p.m. is after the announcements. But what if the announcements finish at 10:30?
2 p.m.
2 p.m. is still after the announcements, my guy. Like, I am not aware of your normalcies and the things that you're so adapted to as someone who isn't part of your daily experience and who doesn't immediately readily have the knowledge that you have at hand.
I would just say 2 p.m. is after the announcement.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. I said, 2 p.m. Guys, 2 p.m. is after the announcement. You know what? Don't even give me this announcement, non-announcement, after, before type
2
of
p.m.
shit. Give me a time that meeting starts. That's how most meetings work.
Yeah.
So everything happens, meeting happens, great time, client loves the project, loves the proposal, wants us to proceed. Great. This person has this sense of animosity towards me the entire time. Even till today, me and the client have a great relationship, but this person hates my guts. But this person, being one of the person in like senior management, has a lot of say and always tries to find ways to give me and my team a lot of issues. But like his bigger boss always like comes to our defense because at the end of the day, they understand that this person's being unreasonable. The issue that I find here is being the guy that has to deal with this kind of behavior and be in the presence of this kind of behavior, even though like they're not the person that I am interacting with on a daily basis, but having to be in the same position as them makes me feel like I am constantly causing inconvenience and making their life harder than it needs to be, because now they have to navigate this weird tension that this person has with me, but I don't have with them. Like at the end of the day, I've let go. Like I'm cool. I don't care as much as they think I should be caring. But this person always considers it to be a big deal. And now it's causing tension between everyone else whenever me and this person are in the same room. And I don't know what to do about it. Like I've done my part.
Funny enough, in this kind of situation, I don't think there is anything to do.
Yeah.
Besides just going into like not really like a heated confrontation, but just like a confrontation. Be like, I get that you've got issues with me. Look, as far as I know, this is what your annoyed with. This is why I've responded in this way. I don't understand what you're expecting of me because I am A, not from your country, B, just doing what I can to find a suitable circumstance for us to work together.
Yeah.
But you seem to be expecting a lot from me. I'm not sure what exactly this is or what you think a person should be equipped with, but I can honestly tell you this isn't me at this current point in time. I think for a great part of things, there's a lot that we like about each other that we can work together, but this current set of expectations, I'm not sure how I can be these things when A, you seem to be feeling this way about me, despite the fact that I have given you my reasons as to why.
Yep. Despite the fact that this actually has nothing to do directly with you.
Yeah.
And you are not at all part of this discussion to begin with. This is that you are not part of the meeting. You're not coming to the meeting no matter what. You are away. And you do not make the decision at the end of the day for this meeting. You are not part of this project because this company is a big enough company that you handle a different division.
Yep.
This is handled by a different division. This is just completely like left field, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like the simplest way of saying is like, I just do not understand.
Yeah.
What else is there for me to do? Like, do you expect every single person to be completely understanding of every little facet of you, the company, the inner workings, the norms of your culture? Do you know cultures about a country like, you know, like away from where you're living? Like, are you supposed to Google every little detail when someone brings up a little thing about the...
You know what, that still bothers me till today, I feel. Because like even if I know the details, okay, say something happened here where we live.
Sure.
And it's an information about something that I'm not entirely sure about. I don't see where it is wrong to just ask in the group chat that's already where the discussion's already happening. Does anyone know when this happens? I don't think someone should be like, oh, don't you know you can just Google that stuff? I thought you were smart. I thought you knew how to use Google.
Well, I think there's a graceful way to saying, hey man, Google it. And then there's also a very like I'm a prick and I'm gonna make you feel like shit for not Googling it.
Yeah.
So the nice way of saying, yeah man, like look, if you just look it up, this is it. This is what we do. So we can do whatever. And then there's if you were smart, like you would Google it because smart people uses Google. Like, don't you know that information is just out there on the internet? And like if you were to just hit Google on your phone, like you would easily just find the answers you were looking for.
Yeah, sassy girl Sam is my favorite Sam. Yo, you just find what you're looking for. Oh my god.
Like, don't you know how a phone works?
Did you know that they invented ChatGPT for you?
Like, there's so many different programs that you can do, that you can use.
There's people out there in the world.
Unless, you know, you're just
like that.
too stupid to use them.
Which is directly what the guy was trying to say. It's like, you are dumb. You need to go be not dumb.
Oh yeah, I am dumb. Like I'm not denying the fact that I am dumb. Look, but like
at the end of the day, I and all the people that I love and care about know and always will remind me that I am dumb.
Yeah.
I don't need you, some rando who I don't even know, telling me about what I already know.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Like I feel like that's also just not professional. Like
it's not professional. It's not
because I feel like I don't know. Some people's heads are so far up that they think that they can just do or say whatever they want. Like, and I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here, but like I run my own company as well, and like when my staff has concerns, yes, there are some things that I feel like should be common knowledge, but the understanding is that people are learning. You know, we're all trying our best here. And there are times when people might not try their best, and that's a moment to have constructive communication with people and to see whether things can work out. But if they are trying their best and they are genuinely, you know, asking questions, there isn't any question that I feel is too dumb for you to ask. Because while yes, you may find general answers to your questions on Google, for example, but like I might want to run my company differently. I might want to do things differently. And asking the relevant people in this case is still a good way of figuring out what needs to be done.
It's all part of like natural conversation, right? Like
yeah, for sure.
if I'm trying to find a specific piece of information that is not common knowledge, of course I'm not gonna ask anything to you. Like Google is the first thing I'm opening up because I'm like, oh, what time does this restaurant close, or what time does this place open? Like I wouldn't expect someone, unless you are the owner of the restaurant or you are the person that runs the place. I wouldn't expect anyone to know. I'll probably open up Instagram and look up their account, or I'll go to Google. Right, but these are common knowledge enough for me to be like, oh, well, common knowledge in their eyes. For me to be like, okay, so yeah, tell me, when's the thing? Yeah, this is a part of to me at least, it's part of a natural conversation.
Yeah.
Someone says, let's meet at this time. Oh, when is this time?
Yeah.
I think that's a simple enough thing. It's not like, oh, let's meet at this time, and then I go Google and I'll be like,
I just don't think there's anything wrong with asking for a specific time. Like to ask for more specificity.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. If you've got a problem with that, I think the problem is more with you than it is with the person asking for it. Just because it's like, what's wrong with asking about clarity? Unless you just hate this person guts to begin with, and you're like, you've got a problem with him, and you want to make him feel like shit for asking for more clarity. Like
maybe. I kind of feel like this is where I'm at sometimes, because I kind of feel like there's people out there that do not like me.
Sure.
And you know what? I don't. Most of the time, I don't concern myself with such people. Sure. But I feel like it is baseless at times, where people find it like a good thing or a cool thing to do to not like me, just because there's other people in like higher ups.
Sure.
Who are like, I find him annoying for this thing, or I don't like him for this thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm essentially trying to do is trying to be as normal as a human being.
I guess I'm going to say this as well, right? Like sometimes there just isn't a logical reason to do certain things as well, especially when it comes to people. I think there will be people who are just gonna not like you, because they just want to do that, either for their own benefit, to look a certain way, or whatever it might be. Yeah,
I think like, to fit in amongst their peers, common enemy rule, right?
Whatever.
Like, your enemy is my enemy, so we're friends.
Yeah,
type of thing.
That kind of thing. Because like, just people are gonna be people, man. Like you're gonna hit people that are, and that's also probably why I'm pretty picky when it comes to things, because like certain just red flags I can't deal with. If I wanna, I guess for me, when I term like someone that I want to be friends with, or like really, because that to me entails that I spend quality time with them, genuinely like have meaningful moments, meaningful conversation, spend a good effort of my time doing what I can to make it a good relationship, like, so when I see particular red flags when it comes to like just either hating someone for no reason, or like being a suck up to like the powers that might be, or this kind of like, I'm gonna like do something morally questionable just because it's gonna be either beneficial in some way, or because I think that these morally questionable things are fun to do. So these kind of red flags to me are just not great people to kind of surround yourself with. And look, it doesn't mean that these people can't change, or things can't be better, or that I'm misreading the situation or misunderstanding it. It all could be very well true, but I think the hurt of like giving these kind of things the benefit of the doubt is a lot more than just saying, okay, I don't want to be friends with this person. That's a lot easier to do. And sometimes I have been wrong. Like some people have genuinely good reasons to act or be a certain way, and then I just didn't realize it.
Didn't know.
So people are just gonna be people, man.
I think that's where I have come to resolve within myself that I'm just going to be a decent person. And that's not a realization I made today. I've been working on this for quite a bit. I'm going to try my best.
That's news to me, but...
Yeah, but that's news to you. I've never been a decent person around you. So. But I'm just going to make a genuine effort in all circumstances, situations of life to be better. That's it.
Well, the thing is...
That's all I can do.
I personally think you've got enough emotional intelligence to be like, okay, I see a problem. And I know there are a few ways to resolve a problem, either by communicating and working out a solution, or trial and error, or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, I think you have at least enough intelligence to be aware when there is a problem.
Most of the time, yes.
And you've got a couple of ways of solving problems, or like you've got tools at least.
Yeah.
And that's probably like, to me, that's already like good enough. I don't know what a lot of other people expect from people, and I'm not here to kind of like tell people off or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, the fact that you have that, you've passed the grade, man. Like,
Yeah.
You've more than passed the grade.
I think it's helpful to know that you don't know, and it's helpful to know pieces of what you know. Like, I don't know how everyone is feeling, but I know that I do not know that. Therefore, I'm receptive when someone tries to express that.
I see. The only thing I think that is different from you and me in this particular scenario is that most of the times when I do read, quote unquote, read the room, I would kind of just say, "Hey, was I being this? Did you feel this way about it? And if I am, I'll apologize because I don't want you to feel about it." So I would give my closest guess,
Your closest guess.
an educated
Yeah,
guess already. So it's like, I'm trying to also tell you that I think I'm kind of aware, but I can't be sure. But I'm asking you because I'm just trying to check. Whereas you are coming from like, I'm completely blank. I do not know, whatever it might be.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I know that something's not right. What's up?
Yeah.
That's it. That's my default response.
Yeah.
Every now and then I do tend to do what you do, but only with people that I've repeatedly analyzed and observed how they are. Like if they're frequently annoyed at certain behaviors or they're frequently angry at certain things. Like I want to find the primary emotion. Is it weird? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it happiness? Whatever. I'm trying to find the core emotion.
And you are going through them in your head. Right?
I'm filtering it out in my head. And if they're sad, then that I try to pinpoint the area or the action that I committed that created that sadness.
Yeah,
and then I will admit that, hey, I know that I said this or did this, and I think that made you sad. I am sorry, but is that what made you sad, or am I correct? Am I wrong? Is there anything else that you feel you want to say to me?
And look, I think that's a good approach. I mean, look, again, everyone's different, right? Like, and everyone processes like emotional information differently as well. I think with me, again, because I'm a different person from you, it's more like, hey, like, it's almost like I could tell you feel this way. Firstly, am I right or am I wrong? You know, and if you did feel this way, was it because of this action? Because I can see that this action could cause someone to feel a particular way, and my intention was not that. I will apologize if it did cause you this way. I care about your feelings because I think it's valid. I think you've got every right to feel the way that you do, and it wasn't my intention to come up here and make you feel a particular way when you don't want to feel that way. And it's basically how I kind of verbalize a emotional incident.
Given that you have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, for sure.
I think here's another panel of thought. Emotion is not necessarily something that you fully think about. I think sometimes you just feel it.
It's pretty funny, huh? Like, it's funny. I think there's a couple of groups. I feel like I am one person that thinks about emotion.
You think about emotion. Okay.
I do.
Same as well. I think about emotion.
But I think we come from it from different angles. I come from a person where I'm probably more emotional first. Like, I would feel it, and then I'll think about, why is it that I feel that way? Whereas for you, I think emotions occur to you or at you, and then you think about, why did that thing happen, in that way?
I think I would just flip that on its head. So I would go, I think first, and then I have feelings about what I thought.
Okay, yeah.
That's
that too, yeah.
So it's like, I think this person doesn't like me, or I think this person likes me. Hey, someone likes me. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's a good feeling, yeah.
It's not like, I'm happy and I don't know why. Oh, it's because this person likes me. No, so it's the other way.
Sure.
I always go thought first.
No, what I meant by that is when my initial statement is not, so it's not like an inside thing. What I mean is like, people will have an emotional reaction. That will happen at you. Yeah. And then you will think about why that emotion.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oftentimes, to my behavior, people have a reaction, and then they have that emotional reaction, and then I try to decipher what exactly is going on. Most of the time, I'm only 50-50 correct. There's been times when I'm like way off, where there's just nothing at all, and I just misread the situation.
Funny enough, I think I see different versions of myself with regards to dealing with an emotional situation, my younger self would probably just be very would do the most intuitive and instinctual thing when comforting people. But I think for myself now, I feel like I'm a lot more hesitant to be comforting.
Comforting.
Yeah, or at least like what I think is comforting.
Okay.
Because there are times when I felt, I wouldn't say I knew for sure or know for sure now even, that people might want a different thing than what kind of like my initial thoughts of comfort might be. So I think there are some people who are solution forward. What I mean by that is they want someone to be able to think of a solution with them. And then there are people who are looking for validation. So who are like, hey, I just need someone to realize that my situation does suck and that I can share in my kind of like what discomfort of my circumstance with. And then there are people who just want someone to listen, not really say much or just acknowledge. That's my default option, I think, that I go to. And then I guess there are people who want the whole, I call them like people who want sympathy, but I'm not sure if sympathy is the right word. People might call it attention. People might call it whatever. The whole like, oh, poor you, you know, like you're such an unlucky kind of like thing or whatever you want to call that kind of sentiment.
Are you afraid of what confrontation might
I'm afraid
might do
of
to people?
Doing the wrong thing in a particular, because I feel like these kind of like situations are pretty volatile, especially when it comes with like emotional distress, because doing the wrong move could basically kind of blow up in your face pretty easily,
even though you are approaching it with good intentions.
Correct. Obviously there's different kinds of people. I feel like people with a lot more maturity will be okay with whatever approach you go with, because they'll see your good intention behind whatever approach. People with less maturity would probably be like, could go in many different ways, right? Like one, either like, oh, like no, like we'll tell you off, and just like, I would say people with like low maturity would just like tell you off and just be like, or like shut off from you, or just oh, you hate me because you don't know exactly what I want. Yeah. That kind of
I would think so as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get everything else kind of falling in between those.
Because to me, the sign of maturity is really just how well you understand why you do certain things and what is behind your every action in that sense. Yeah. And it becomes very difficult for someone like me to understand when someone just does things for the sake of, because that's just how they feel like doing in that sense.
And look, I think there's, again, when it comes to like social interaction, there's just so many different pathways that could happen, right? Like one way you could just kind of choose to quote unquote be the bigger person, or be like, okay, like let's come back to this at another time, or whatever, you know. Like I think there's a lot of these kind of choices for you to make necessitates a lot of contextual information. And again, everyone's got their own preference of what is socially acceptable or not. As long as you come from it, I think, with genuine intentions, for me, that's all I care about in a person. Again, you might have your own set of values that you prefer and ways to express those values that you prefer. Nothing wrong, technically, I would say, necessarily with that. But it does kind of limit, I would say, the human experience for you. Because, look, without kind of like naming names as well, I think I've been with people who sees the world in that light, where like my idea of good is this, and this. And within these categories, it needs to be shown in this particular way. And if you hit those boxes, then you are a good person. But if you deviate from those boxes, despite whatever intentions you might have, then you are not a good person. And I've met those kind of people. And it's not to say that the idea of good isn't good. It is good, you know, but it's a very limited view of good.
It is perfectionism. The expectation of perfectionism.
I wouldn't call it perfectionism, but because I would say that it's their idea. It's a very subjective perfectionism.
Correct. It's not objectively perfect. But in their mind, this is what perfect is. And the moment you deviate any amount from that, you become not part of their circle. They just don't want to be associated with you in that sense.
And I've had conversations with people like that. And to be fair, not everyone is super rigid, and not everyone is even aware that they are being like that. So I've had conversations with people who I've kind of just like, hey, like, you know, you were kind of being this, and I know it might not be what you intend, and I'm pretty sure you've got really good intentions for this, for this situation or this person. But maybe if you were to see it from their point of view, they were doing this because of this, and they were just prioritizing this particular value in this way. They were not being bad people, but they were just seeing things from a different light. And then they were like, oh, yeah, I never kind of like thought about it that way. And yeah, so you meet all kind of people. Like there are people who are just unaware of empathy.
I think it's pretty much just giving the other person the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Because the way I live with myself and the way I approach life is very like, I assume, I give all of you the benefit of the doubt that everyone here means well.
Yep.
Everyone has good intentions. Now, the way they go about it may not be the best way. The way they do things may not be the best way. But everyone out there that I'm going to meet today have good intentions, including me. I am honest to God, I can tell myself, I can go to bed in the morning knowing, go to bed in the morning.
I mean, you do go to bed in the morning.
I go to bed in the morning sometimes, you know, when you had a long night. I go to bed knowing that I have never been malicious towards anyone. Tried to bring anyone down, tried to use any form of my resources to harm anyone.
I would say like there are probably certain experiences that you probably have a distaste for, that you didn't like or whatever, and that's fairly normal to have. But you didn't go from it from a like, oh, this person needs to be dealt with, or like, yeah, it's just like, hey, this could have been a lot better.
I go about my day hoping that everyone else also has good intentions.
Which is the unfortunate thing.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, like not everyone's gonna view life that way, and a lot of people are gonna find that way of living is pretty tiring.
It is.
Yeah, you know, like I'm just gonna like do whatever, and if you don't like it, so be it. I don't give it.
If I were to choose anything else besides living that way, I feel like I'm gonna live in a constant state of judgment of everyone's actions because of the way I'm wired. Like I judge my actions all the time.
Yeah.
And I need to learn to give myself the grace that I try to give others. Because of that, I also try to portray that outwardly and sort of maybe also project in a sense where like I assume that you have good intentions. Yes, maybe like, you know, like it's the whole thing of like how someone meets someone that they want to meet for the first time. And then they meet you and then they shake your hand a bit too tight, or they accidentally make you stumble or whatever. They are excited. At the end of the day, their intentions are pure, but the way they've conducted themselves may not have been the perfect way. And maybe they're still beating up themselves for the way they did. But in reality, like I assume that everyone's got good things. Everyone's got good in them. And it doesn't necessarily come out in the way that is perceived as good to other people. So I try to exercise that just so I do not become this elitist, noble person, or like trying to be the guy that is always the bigger person, always takes the moral high ground in that sense.
Right, hey, look at me, I am the better person.
Yeah, like I don't want to be that kind of guy.
Sure.
And I know I'm not that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, I guess. Okay, bye. Live your life.